how much is your retirement really worth? Hey, Benjamin Russell. I'm the founder of the Lifestyle Rebellion movement, and also as far as my credentials is about talking about retirement, I've worked in the financial planning sector for a little over 10 years. I'm a licensed insurance and securities broker, so I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about, but however the principles I'm talking about here are very simple for anyone to understand, whether you're licensed or not, or have any experience in retirement or stocks or not, as well as you can look up and Google any single fact or figure I talk about today to verify for yourself, and I encourage you to do so. So take a look at this. When you are working all your life and sacrificing your health and your wellness for 40, 50 years, working through all your best years of your life, you have this hope of retirement, right? This misty dream of sitting on a beach somewhere. You usually don't picture yourself on oxygen in a hospital, which is how many people retire, but let's say you get that, okay? You're healthy and you can actually go to a beach somewhere. Have you ever thought about what your retirement account is actually worth? That $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, or even the American dream of having $1 million in your retirement account. Wow, I'm a millionaire. How much is it actually worth when you're talking about retiring? Let's take a look. So we got two lines here. The blue line is pretty much 100% accepted rule among financial planners and advisors of 4%. 4% rule means if you retire at a typical age of 65 to 70 and you have a typical life expectancy, if you take about 4% every year of whatever amount is in the account, doesn't matter if there's 10,000 or 10 million, if you take out 4% every single year, odds are, most likely, that it'll last until you die. This is good, because you can't have it not last because you can't work anymore. You don't have enough health or talent in the industry, so you need it to last. Many people do a little less than 4% to make sure it lasts. But let's use the hypothetical 4% in order to illustrate the best case scenario. And this is also if nothing happens to those funds. You put them in low-risk bonds or extremely low-risk stocks and hope that nothing happens to the market, because if something does, the 4% rule goes out the window and you are screwed. The yellow line is the guaranteed annual income. So guaranteed annual income is going to be how much you can be guaranteed to make over the rest of your life. So we're talking about annuitizing it, which is my preference for my own retirement, is if I'm no longer able to work and I'm 85 years old, I don't want any wishy-washy 4% rule of, yeah, I'm most likely going to have enough money. I want to be guaranteed for life. But let's take a peek. The American average for money in retirement account, $5,000. It's a pretty depressing number. This is the median amount. So most Americans have only $5,000 of retirement. In fact, a third of Americans have $0. And you can't even see them from there, but there's a little blue and yellow line there. 4% of $5,000, $200. You're making $200 a year in retirement off of your $5,000. Makes $5,000 seem worth a lot less, huh? The next one over, let's say $100,000. You're top 1 or 2% of a retirement account. You actually have $100,000 saved. Good for you. Congratulations. The blue line, you have a little under $5,000. So that $100,000 is worth a little less than $5,000 a year for the rest of your life. Can you live off of $5,000 a year? Even when you add it to Social Security, is that something you can live off of? And think about it. Think about what income level you have to be at to actually save $100,000 over the course of your working years. Odds are you're a $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year earner to save that $100,000. And all this is worth is a little less than $5,000 a year to you. That's how much your retirement's really worth. Let's keep on moving up. $500,000. $500,000 gets you $20,000 a year. Off of the 4% rule. If you want to actually guaranteed, you're looking at more like $12,000 a year. So let's say it's the 20. Let's go best case scenario. It lasts and lasts and nothing bad happens in the market, because we all know nothing ever bad happens in the market. So you have yourself $20,000 a year off of a $500,000 retirement. You know what you could do with $500,000? Do you really think if you invested $500,000 in a business or in yourself over the past 40, 50 years, that all you would be able to create is $20,000 a year? Think about all the business opportunities or life opportunities you've had. Would that $500,000 be spent somewhere else a little better? Could that have changed your life a little bit? Could that have paid off your mortgage? And instead of just receiving $20,000 a year, you wouldn't have had to have a mortgage for 20, 30, 40 years. There are a lot of options there. When you put it into these terms, when people actually realize how much it's worth, all you're thinking about is this big number you're building. You never think about the monetization of it. But in reality, if you're looking for retirement, that's all you care about. You're not an investor that's investing millions or billions trying to grow a hedge fund. You're a regular average American trying to build and maintain and sustain a retirement. You need a lot more. So let's talk about the goal of many Americans. $1 million. What does $1 million get you? 4% rule? $40,000 a year. Okay, some people could live off of $40,000 a year. You add in 20 grand to Social Security, you have 60 grand a year. Okay, some people could retire off that, especially if you paid off your mortgage. Odds are you haven't, but especially if you did. However, let's think about this. Right? We're talking about natural selection here. Who saves $1 million? Who actually saves $1 million for retirement? Next to nobody. You're talking about 1%ers. You're talking about the people that are making millions of dollars actually save $1 million. Or at least people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, who also make massive sacrifices throughout their prime living years. They don't take those vacations. They don't buy those cars. They don't have that nice house. Those people are the ones that have $1 million at the end of their life, in retirement. So those people, $40,000 a year, means nothing to them. $40,000 a year might not even pay for one of their cars, the people that have that $1 million to put away. But let's say that you were a lower income earner and somehow you saved the $1 million. Is that the best use of $1 million asset? Is $40,000 a year? Or if you want it guaranteed, because again, you're conservative, you saved everything for 40, 50 years, that's a conservative personality and not an aggressive one. So you're a conservative individual, you're most likely down here at $25,000 using the guaranteed annuitizing route. That is how much it's actually worth. Something you need to realize. The purpose of an asset is income. It's worth nothing to you until you monetize it and generate it into an income. So that's what you need to look at. So is the best method for retirement really just socking money away into a stock market that fluctuates all over the place and hoping that when you retire it's on an upward fluctuation, and if it is on a downward that you can wait and delay your retirement 5-10 years in order to catch it on a rise, and then once you do retire you're going to accept a meager 4% every single year of this massive asset you've created. Or maybe take that $1 million and invest it somewhere other than the stock market. There are other options. If you want to learn more, check out lifestylerebellion.com. It's the fastest growing global movement of individuals that are taking back control over their time, their money, and their assets. Enjoy.